Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and this afternoon we're going to have a look at the latest GFS ensembles. We'll have a look at some precipitation charts, and then we'll focus on the big thunderstorms that we're seeing across parts of southern England, southwestern parts, part of the Midlands today. Do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you do like and subscribe, and do remember to follow me on Twitter in the description as well for live updates. So currently we'll just go through the first 10 days of the GFS just to give you a brief overview of what we're going to be seeing, then we'll have a look at the ensembles, and then we'll have a look at some live data. So if we have a look through, you can see we're under low pressure influence, which is the reason why we've got sort of thunderstorms around and heavy showers, as we've got lift, and then we've got a lot of we actually have quite a bit of cape, and then convergence zones. All gives lift to these showers, along with the strong sunshine, because we are in the middle of May now, so we are only like 3 or 4 weeks. I think it's 4 weeks, roughly 28 to 30 days away from the longest day of the year where the sun is the strongest. So providing that energy means these showers can get quite beefy. Beyond the next few days, we do have a brief little area of high pressure over especially southern parts, so it could dry it down perhaps through Wednesday and Thursday, but then we've got this big low rattling through it looks Friday evening, and it's still going to be around into Saturday, bringing through its weather fronts and having again showers in behind that. Remaining low pressure dominated, but as we head to day 10, there are hints starting to appear within the ensembles and on the operational runs. Higher pressure is going to take hold once again, similar to what we had in a lot of April, where it was very dry. It does look like we could be having a dry theme once again. Does look like, though, there could be northerly winds with it. As ever with higher pressure this time of year, it's quite susceptible to moving further northwards, and this could bring in northerly winds. Now, the air from the north isn't particularly cold, because it is, again, getting towards the end of May, early June, but we still feel relatively fresh. I mean, even though it's going to be probably quite dry, maybe a few showers in the east, but generally quite dry, sunny. I do suspect there could be a bit of low mist on the east coast, and temperatures could be suppressed into like sort of the mid to high teens, whereas this time of year with higher pressure we'd want to be getting into the 20s. I'll quickly go to 384 hours just so you can see roughly what we're looking at. Again, high pressure quite dominated, but we still got low pressure out over the continent and sort of little cut-off lows, which could give enhanced precipitation, heavy showers, convective showers, and even a few thunderstorms with that. So although high pressure dominated, there still could be some showers around. If we have a look at the GFS ensembles, you can see generally over the next sort of week or so we are around or below average. See a lot of precipitation signals over the next few days. Most of those are sort of convective, thunderstorms, and then as we head into the weekend, we get a bigger deluge with a lot of ensemble members showing maybe perhaps 6 to 10 millimeters of rain, with that low coming in Friday night into Saturday. And you can see there it's quite a prolonged period of time, so perhaps weather fronts don't move through particularly quickly, but they're not too heavy at the same time, so we'll just have to watch out for that. Beyond that, it is quite cold at the upper airs through the weekend, but as we head into next week, it does look like temperatures will start to rise towards the end of next weekend. Towards the end of May, high pressure dominated conditions could prevail. As you can see, precipitation is quite low, but there is quite a variation in the ensemble members between at what temperatures we're looking at. Some of the ensemble members obviously have the higher pressure positioned a bit further eastwards, which means we will bring up more of a southerly or southeasterly flow. Some have it a bit further westwards, which means it's more of a northeasterly or northerly flow. So what happens with orientation of the high pressure will decide whether we could see mid-20s, low 20s, or just mid-teens, high teens. So it does generally look drier. Can't rule out showers, especially in the east, but it definitely does look a lot more pleasant than we've had recently. If we just briefly have a look at the GFS precipitation, just show you what we're looking at for this deluge coming through the weekend. You see a lot of thundery showers around the next few days. We'll have a look at that in a minute. But as we head to the weekend, you can see that deluge moving in. Thursday night, initially, the initial weather fronts move through into Friday. So you can see sort of the initial warm front move through, and then we do see throughout Friday evening into Saturday, the main low moves through with an occluded front. You can see there could be enhanced precipitation with that. So that's probably why those rainfall spikes are quite spread out over the course of sort of 12 to 24 hours, because although the weather fronts move through Thursday into Friday, there's still going to be a lot of showers and potentially longer spells of rain behind that. Doesn't look too heavy at this stage. Again, there are some heavier pulses within that, but they do look like they will diminish as they spread across the country. So perhaps parts of Wales, southwestern parts of Scotland will probably see the heaviest rain, along with Ireland, of course, and Northern Ireland. Perhaps further eastwards, you'll stay out of the heaviest rain, but everyone will probably see a good maybe quarter to half an inch of rain from this. Now, if we have a look at the current thunderstorm situation, we'll first have a look at Cape. So this is the conductive potential energy, which basically is just energy in the atmosphere. Once you get showers going, once you've got a trigger for showers, this is what energy is available for those showers to pop off and to potentially turn to thunderstorms. You can see early in the morning there isn't a lot of Cape around, but as the sun gets going, you can see that Cape really does pop up, and you can see that generally around this afternoon, evening, so right now as I'm recording it's about 4 p.m, and you can see the Cape is primarily concentrated in England and parts of the eastern parts. There are a little bit of Cape in northern England, Scotland, but generally the epicentre of the biggest Cape is towards southeastern parts, and this is evident if we have a look at the radar in a minute. You can see where the heaviest showers and the thunderstorms are. There's a bit of Cape in Southern Ireland as well, and we have seen some thunderstorms there. It does look like they've decayed now, but still could pep up a little bit. That Cape does drift eastwards overnight as the energy diminishes, so it does look like showers will be moving eastwards and will be diminishing as they do so. That Cape does disappear overnight, but then as we head into tomorrow, more Cape picks up, primarily concentrating again in south and eastern parts. So generally, it looks like southeastern England, East Anglia, central southern England could again be epicenter for any thunderstorms and showers. And again, that Cape does diminish as we head through the night. And then again, maybe a little bit of Cape in southern parts, but again, it's diminishing quite a lot as that bridge of high pressure takes hold. And you can see there is very little Cape as we head through Thursday into into those weather fronts arriving. Next thing we'll have a look at is the average winds. Now, this just doesn't say exactly where showers are going to pop up, but it gives you an idea of where there is lift for these showers. On the wind maps, we'd look for convergence zones where winds suddenly change direction as a result of colliding with other direction of winds. So you can see sort of convergence zones this morning were over parts of northern England, and we did see some very heavy showers over northern England, some thunderstorms in fact, and some very heavy rain. So that's a convergence zone over towards northern England and sort of North Midlands. We did see some quite significant conditions with that. But throughout today, the biggest sort of region we're looking at for convergence zones, along with the Cape, so remember you need to have the convergence zones and you need to have the Cape, is sort of southern or southeastern parts. You can see where winds are coming in sort of through sort of Bristol, heading sort of southeastwards, combining with winds heading sort of northeastwards, and where these collide, it's not like a massive convergence zone, but it's going to provide lift within the Cape, and this is where we are seeing a line of quite heavy thundery showers at the moment. Now there are some very heavy and thundery showers over towards London, and you can see there's no sort of convergence zone there. So convergence zone isn't entirely needed, but it just is an indication of where we could be seeing the heavier showers forming. Again, there are it looks like some convergence zones over eastern England as well, and we'll keep an eye on that over the course of this evening as those develop, as those have developed throughout the day, and it'll be interesting to see what develops along those. As we head through tomorrow, again, there could be, a small convergence zone you can see towards sort of with the Thames, towards London. You can see winds coming in from a westerly direction, hitting winds coming from a more south or southwesterly direction, potentially a bit of convergence there. So we'll just have to watch out with that within the Cape. But generally beyond that, it's very much looking at convergence zone. You really have to look at sort of a nowcast situation, or maybe 12 hours ahead, as they can change very quickly depending on each run and can move. So it's very localized sort of thing you want to look at. So I wouldn't look at these too far ahead, as they are very much likely to change. But it does give a very good indication in sort of the short range, 6 to 12 hours, of where we could be seeing some showers and some thunderstorms. So we'll look at that sort of eastern part of the country and the southeastern part as well. If we now have a look at lightning strikes, this is issued at 4:10 this afternoon, and you can see across that convergence zone that I was showing you on the map just 30 seconds ago, you can see across southern and southeastern parts, we have some very heavy thunderstorms. Now, there is a main cell there producing most of the lightning, but there is a general area of heavy rain. And again, more isolated thunderstorms across southwestern parts, central southern parts, and again, more thunderstorms and heavier showers across London. There was quite active thunderstorms moving through London, but they have decayed now and just look like there are a few isolated cells popping up behind. If you don't know already, anything orange and yellow is, so it's T-minus minutes, so anything orange, yellow is sort of in the last sort of 5 minutes or so. And then as we head down that colour spectrum, you can see as we get towards purple, that's 50, 55 minutes an hour, etc. So anything of those sort of blue or purpley colours are lightning strikes of about around 45 minutes to an hour ago. And it allows you to track the position of the storm. So you can see how it's moving. It's moving quite slowly, in fact, these storms. And probably the biggest worry for most people is probably the rain, especially in southeastern parts. We saw a deluge yesterday, saw some very heavy rain today again, and could have seen, and some areas have seen maybe 2 inches of rain in the last day or so, simply from thunderstorms. So probably torrential rain, hail, and probably flash flooding is probably the biggest concern. As you can see, there are quite frequent lightning strikes in some of these storms, but most of them are just isolated strikes in small locations. So now if we have a look at the live radar, you can see really where that convergence zone is across southern parts of England. You can see where we've got that sort of heavy cell where we've got most of the lightning strikes at the moment. We can also see some other cells cropping up on the back edge of this, sort of on the outflow of these storms as they move eastwards. So you can see this is really where one of the convergence zones sets up, and this is why we look at convergence zones, as there's a lot of cape around, but you can see this is really where it's the sort of the beefiest showers are. Again, there are more showers moving southeastern, in a southeastern direction, heading sort of from Birmingham down through London, towards Kent sort of area. And that is why, at the moment, we are seeing, that's where we've seen some very heavy rain, and it looks like some more cells are starting to crop up as these sort of lines of thunderstorms moving through are starting to decay now. There are some cells further south and westwards, again, isolated cells and generally bigger and heavier little bands of rain. And again, if we move a bit further northwards, you can see where the cape does start to run out, and there's less cape. You can see there aren't as many showers, and there are only maybe a few little isolated storms. But we were looking at convergence zones, and you can see across sort of northeastern parts, you can see quite heavy showers, quite widespread showers as well. And this is a result of that convergence zone we were looking at. You can see there isn't as much cape in northeastern parts as there is in southeastern parts. So it does mean these showers are not as heavy. There are some heavy showers in there because there is still some cape around. And some energy, so it does mean there are a few probably isolated sort of little thunderstorms within this, but you can see it's sort of in a line, and this is where the convergence zone is set up, providing these quite stagnant showers. So if we do run it back briefly, you can see how these showers don't really move too much over the last hour or so. If you are stuck under one of these heavier pulses, you will see it for a good 30 or 40 minutes or so. It does start to move eastwards as those wind directions change, but generally you can see over the last sort of hour, it very much doesn't change position too significantly. That's one of the issues we have seen with some of these storms, is they are moving quite slowly. And if we run this back, you can see perhaps running through the London area, they're moving relatively quickly on a brisker northwesterly wind, but in that convergence zone, let's just try and get these frames to load quickly. There we go, I think we've got them to load now. So if you can see across that sort of convergence zone in southern England, they are just moving straight eastwards. So if you are stuck under that convergence zone, it does look like you're going to get continual amounts of rain and thunderstorm activity. So they are moving through quite quickly, and that's why rain is probably the biggest issue with these thunderstorms at the moment. And you can see where we see these lines of thunderstorms in these convergence zones, it just really continues raining. Even if one of the cells passes through, there's still some heavier rain behind it. So if you are stuck out in these thunderstorms, do keep an eye on the radar. Probably the biggest issue, again, as I've said, is the rain. And do make sure if you're looking outside and there is some very heavy rain and lightning strikes, stay indoors, as they are likely, unless you are stuck under one of these convergence zones, they are likely to move through, at least to some lighter rain. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.